Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Howdy, and welcome to the iGPFun Formula 3 series presented by SRP. We're here live at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve here in Montreal for another fantastic round of the iGPFun Formula 3 series presented by SRP here on Apex Racing TV. I'm Austin. I'm joined by Sebastian Bosher-Woods with Martin Traiter in the production booth, and I hope y'all are having a fantastic evening. Sebastian, how are you doing here today?
I'm doing brilliantly and even better now that we've got some IGP fun action to feast our eyes on. Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. I mean, what an amazing race that we had 1 week ago at Zolder, and I can only think that this track is going to add to the excitement. And I tell you what, Austin, qualifying underway, and there's a familiar name at the top of the standings. A man that goes by the name of Sam Coleman, who provided, let's just say, a very entertaining race at Spa. Will he be able to put on the same fireworks today, I wonder?
Yeah, Sam Coleman, we saw them take it to the bank in Spa. We are going to see if they can take it to the bank here again in Montreal. As, well, you know, they were doing very well. Very well last week as well. They had a little bit of an incident, but last week we did break the streak. Lucas Marouk became the first driver this season to win twice in a season, followed by Samuel Hermer and Q Thiago Marteau. Our top 10 overall is Lucas Marouk, followed by Robert Ridgway, 71 points behind him, with Tony Jimenez in third, 92 points behind Lucas Marouk. He's in a tight fight with Will McIntyre-Jones in fourth place, with Jerome Lanley finishing out that top 5 at 108 points. So this championship is looking like it is Lucas Marouk's right there. He's been the most consistent driver so far.
It has been, and that is necessarily what you need to do to become a champion. And Lucas Marouk, no stranger to winning championships in the IGP Fun series. He knows how to do it. He knows that he needs to be consistent. And he wasn't really the quickest driver at Zolder, at least not at the start, but he kept his cool, kept it clean, and ended up, as you rightly said, coming home to be the first driver this season to get 2 wins in this season. It's been, you know, we had 8 different winners from 8 races. Will we see the same today? I tell you what, Jerome Lamy, he's another one that's won 1 race, looking for his second. He's in second place at the moment. It's looking like, Austin, we're going to have Sam Coleman versus Jerome Lamy with Lucas Marouk on the third place. So this race looking like it's going to be an absolute treat.
It really is. Jerome Langley and Lucas Baruch, they're both in that top 5 of the top 10, and Jerome Langley is also in there. Well, that is exactly what I just said. But Lucas Baruch, he's going to have to really be consistent in these final 2 rounds because he still has an opportunity to lose this championship if it goes south for him. But as qualifying is finishing right there, Lucas Baruch is sitting there in 3rd. But I'm expecting some craziness to come out of this race because it's Montreal. Something crazy always happens here. Either there's chaos at the hairpins or somebody really messes up that chicane.
Oh, completely. The chicane. I mean, you mentioned it in your outro at Zolder. I mean, the Wall of Champions, how infamous is that outside wall. I think we're going to see at least one driver end up in there today. The curbs are really high and very difficult, especially in these Formula 3 cars. They're very low to the ground. So I'd be surprised if we don't see a little bit of drama heading through the final chicane. But it's Montreal. I think we're going to see drama pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, drama is definitely on the menu here today. There's drama between cars, drama between the cars and the track and the walls. So let's time to get out there on track and see how everybody is all lined up. Sam Colvin lines up on pole, just 72 hundredths of a second ahead of Jerome Langley and Lucas Baruch in 3rd. They're followed by Evan Way, Simon Fessy, Samuel Hermer, Tony Jimenez, Alistair Hay, Andy Flint, Will McIntyre Jones, Clark Wolves, and Simon Piaro in his first race in 12th place. Behind them, it's Leo Lung, Victor Barris, Nicholas Westman, Kayla Patry, Fabio Grosseto, Adam Talisman, Gavin Petty, Robert Ridgway, Leonardo O'Cherry, Christian Glamcenter, Alejandro Savadio in 23rd, followed by Lee Aberdeen in 24th. Richard Van Veen and Potapenko in 25th and 26th, followed by Stu Millen, Cody Ido, Alan Lee, and Ben Goyat, followed by Nick Carty, Zoltan Zomer, James Cochran, Raphael Muser, and Philip Lucas, followed by Reed Dennis in 36th place. Behind them, it's Clear, Richie Robinson, Patrick Olson, Darren Rollinson, and Clemens Punzengruber, Frankie Franchica, and Matt Brewer, followed by James Luis, Patrick Rollins, Matthew Gracie, Martin Devine, and Pedro Jaraba, and Rory Collins in 48th. In the last 2 spots, it's Craig Carroll and Brendan Wild at the back of our grid. Our back 3 did not put in a lap time. Our average, most of our drivers within 2.5 seconds of our pole time set by Sam Coleman. So that is a very tightly packed field as we are all lined up on the front straightaway. 50 cars, nose to tail, side by side here at Montreal as we are just 10 seconds away from the command.
Going to be such an interesting race. Watch for the run down to turn 1. One of the best overtaking opportunities on the circuit. The drivers will be approaching there at almost full speed.
And here we go, 5 red lights, and we are green, green, green. Amazing start. And we got already cars spinning out in the background. We're going to cover that incident very later. But Coleman beats Langley out, leading into turns 1 and 2. Around the outside is definitely a good opportunity. Evan Way trying to look down towards the inside of Lucas Baruch. Baruch let the gap right there. Around the backside is Gavin Petty. He's around. But everybody else looking like they made it through turns 1 and 2 very safely. And some big dive around the outside by Leonardo Cherry, sending it around Christian Glamcenter. Glamcenter is taking it easy down towards the inside, just trying to avoid anybody getting sent on him. Well, he got sent either way, as O'Cherry is moving up a few spots as well as they're heading into turns 4 and 5.
Look at this though, Austin. Sam Coleman already under pressure from Jerome Langley. It really feels like the battle has been resumed when we left off at Spa.
Langley's got the run.
He's just going to pull to the outside very quickly. Evan Way tried to tackle Baruch, or tried to get around the outside of him, I should say, into turn number 1. Baruch managed to defend cleanly and safely. That's really important for our championship leader.
Sam Coleman under pressure at the hairpin. Langley tried to send it around the outside, but it did not happen right there. But Langley, he took the longer run. I'm tripping over my words right now. But he's in the draft. He goes onto the outside again. He's got a nose ahead. Jerome Langley is going to be taking the lead just slightly, but he gets onto the brakes earlier and allowing Coleman to go down towards the inside at that final chicane. But that's going to hold them both up as we have a car kiss the wall in the wall champions right there. I think that might have been Evan Way, as here comes Lanley. Lanley looking down towards the inside at turn 1.
These drivers, I think, are going to stay side by side for most of the race, at least if Spa was anything to go on. Lucas Berg in third. He's got a lot to lose, but a lot to gain. Can he make it 3 wins this season? And if Coleman and Lamy continue to fight, if it starts to get a little bit dirty, a little bit dangerous, Lucas Berg could really benefit. Evan Way as well in fourth, although you're right, Austin, he did graze the wall of champions. The first driver has already come into contact with the wall of champions. Is that an omen for this race, I wonder?
Now, this is a replay of the start. Darren Rollinson had a little bit of a off at the start of this race, so it's going to be a rough time for him. But yeah, with cars just grazing the walls in that final chicane, we are going to be wondering on how they are going to be attacking this track throughout the day. And I feel like that we are going to be seeing cars taken out of this race from hitting that wall. And Evan Way was not battling anybody else. They were on their own.
They were, and you know, you got to remember that these cars are going to have cold tires. It's the first lap, and especially Evan Way, he's arriving at the chicane with a lot more speed than he would have been used to in qualifying. He had a quadruple slipstream. Oh, Jerome Lamy so wide through the chicane, almost lost it, managed to recover, but now Jerome Lamy very much under pressure from Lucas Murray.
Murray looking down towards the inside, trying to take second place right now, right here. That inside line is not the preferred line, and Marut goes very deep on the brakes, almost getting into the back of Jerome Lanley, but Lanley stays up in second place as Caleb Patry around the outside. They're so outside, they make contact! Patry and Westman make contact with each other.
Really tight racing. Turn 1 looking like it's going to be a great opportunity to get those overtakes in, but you've got turn 3 center corner. That's where you can over or re-overtake the driver up ahead, and then after turn 3 there's not many overtaking opportunities until turn 11. The hairpins, you're seeing Reed Dennis unable to get by Alan Lee.
Big crash at the exit of turn 3. We got a car pile up. Big crash, big crash. Pile up in a big one. Right behind him, James Cochran was right beside him, and I think he is the one that is blocked up in there right there. Yeah, the cars ahead of him. It's just a massive 4 cars, 1 car flying into the air, tumbling over end as the rest of the cars get through that gap, but a big pile up of cars right there through turns 3 and 4.
Said you couldn't really successfully overtake after turn 3, and that's what happens if you attempt. To tell you what, Simone Fessy, he's trying to get past Evan Way, does so on the brakes into the final chicane. What can Simone Fessy do? He didn't have the greatest of races at Zolder. Can he refined his form? Evan Way, though, looking down the inside into turn 1, but that outside line, Austin, looking very powerful into turns 1 and 2. That big accident, though, I'll tell you what, that's a lot of damage for many cars. They're all going to have to come back to the pit, get a fast repair, but really hurting their race so early on.
Yeah, so early on, he definitely did not want that incident happening. As we were looking at Leonardo Cherry and Talisman, they're going side by side. Talisman around to go around the outside right there and clear that move as they go through treacherous turns 3 and 4, which I gotta say is the part of the track that we usually see most of the instances. Though Cherry sneaks it back down towards the inside, but Talisman's now got the inside as they go 3 wide off the exit. As they exit what would be the Lance Stroll stand, or is that Nicholas Latifi stand?
Then that's the Lance Stroll stand. Luedo trying to capitalize on Adam Talisman and Leonardo O'Cherry's battle, does so very successfully. Luedo now up into 18th place. Tell you what, though, it's looking all good for the Canadians. They're in 3rd and 5th at the moment, looking really good and looking like the drivers on their home soil, really capitalizing on that maybe home knowledge.
Yeah, that home knowledge is definitely paying dividends, but also they've been very consistent throughout the season. Well, one of them is a championship leader, so Lucas Berg is definitely going to be very happy about that. And the cars ahead of him, they stopped fighting, so he's allowed to start pulling away from the rest of the field and just pull himself back up to them and to stay within that draft, waiting for that mistake. And let's ride on board of Fabio Grosseto looking at Victor Barris.
what can Victor Barris do? We've seen that you can't really overtake now until turn 11, the hairpin corner. So it's all about sticking behind the driver ahead, trying to just almost understand when the car is going to start understeering because of the dirty air. You've got to predict the understeer. You see a little bit of a lock-up there. That's from Grassetto. So Grassetto really feeling the pressure that Victor Barris is applying. Roman Pierio as well, right behind. He can capitalize if Barris and Grassetto continue to fight for a prolonged period of time. Back to your fight at the top of the timing stands, Austin, Coleman and Lamy, they're setting very similar lap times. Their last lap, they're separated by only a few hundredths of a second. So Lamy and Coleman, very, very similar on pace. Was that mistake from Lamy, is that going to really impact him for the remainder of this race, I wonder?
I don't know, it might be, but also, if we go back to Fabio Grassetto, I want to point out that he is running a different wing than most of the drivers around him. He is all trimmed out on that low downforce. Look at that rear wing, how thin it is. He wants that straight line speed down the back straightaway and the front straightaway and is trying to hold it on. And he did pull out that gap to Victor Barris, but he does struggle throughout the rest of the track. Well, definitely is a gamble, but it is working out so far for Fabio Grassetto, who is up 5 spots so far. And there's a car casing the pit lane. Down the field is Robert Ridgway. There's side by side, and he goes around the outside and turns it really wide to the pit exit right there as he is battling with Caleb Patry and Krishna Glamsetter.
It was really starting to emerge at this phase of the race, only on lap 6, still got about 24 or so to go in this race. Jerome Lamy setting some blistering sector times at the moment, but Coleman, I think, starting to feel the pressure. He was a little bit wide to that turn 6 and 7 chicane. That's going to give Jerome Lamy a little bit of an incentive to just start pushing that little bit more. Lucas Burke as well, he's falling off the back of this fight. So for the time being, it's a two-way battle for this race lead. Grassetto, really interesting, Austin, the downforce package he's gone for, really thinking that the straight line speed is going to be the most crucial factor today. It has so far worked out for him. Let's just see if it can continue to do that for the remainder of the race.
It does provide the advantage in the straightaway, but when you're battling with another car throughout the day, I do not think that will be the right choice. He just feels like it'll just give him the better chance to clear a car heading into the Wall of Champions. And we've got side-by-side action right here between Talsma and O'Cherry. Talsma going around the outside, beat him on the brakes as Aberdeen takes a look at the wall and really took a look at the wall. I think he just missed it though, but he really took advantage of that runoff just after the wall.
He was, if he didn't touch it, he was certainly very close to the driver that might have hit a wall. Caleb Patry, he's in the pits, I think, for a little bit of damage repair. So I wonder if he's come a cropper somewhere on the lap. Lee Aberdeen, not a name that we've seen in the IGP-Fun series for quite some time. Great to see him back and really getting stuck into the action already. He's got Leonard O'Cherry right up ahead of him, Adam Tausma and the Wado all in this little gaggle. And he is being thrown into the deep end, as it were, here at the iGPFun round at Montreal, because there is no let-up in this race. There is no really long straight that you can relax and recuperate on. It's just constant action around this place.
Yeah, it's definitely something that is always kind of nerving, but it's always great to see new drivers make their debuts in the iGPFun-F3 series, especially going up with settled drivers like Leonardo O'Cherry up ahead. And O'Cherry does have a sign for Aberdeen on the back of that rear wing. It does say, don't touch.
I think Lee Aberdeen also needs that instruction through the final chicane at the Wall of Champions.
He doesn't want to touch him. He wants to pass him right there, looking down towards the inside. Just showing a little bit of fake as, once again getting close to the wall. Goes Aberdeen in the 999. And does Aberdeen have a good enough run? He's looking down towards the inside line. Just trying to force a mistake out of O'Cherry. As let's go up the field to Simon Fessy as he's chasing down Lucas Maruk.
Simone Fessy set the fastest lap last time around, 1 minute 29.9. The only other driver to get into the 1 minute 29 so far this race is your race leader, Sam Coleman. So Fessy really finding the pace at this stage of the race. He needs to get past Lucas Maruk if he wants any chance of catching and even passing Coleman or Lamy. Maruk was a little bit wide through the second chicane, and I wonder if Simone Fessy is going to set Lucas Maruk up, get it done into the final chicane. If not, try and overtake Lucas Maruk into turn 1. But if he can get this done now, Austin, Simone Fessy could be a real factor in this race today.
It certainly will be a real factor as here we go. He's looking down towards the inside. He's got a lot of speed. He's side by side, and oh, Maruk's led it by Fessy, sends it into the corner, hops over the curbs, gets right up towards the wall. Oh, so close that you can look at the wall and give it a little bit of reflection off those chrome wheels and say, how you doing? Simone Fessy up into third with a brave move on Lucas Maruk.
Deep though through turns 1 and 2. That's going to give Maruk a little bit of an incentive, but look at this. Coleman under pressure from Jerome Lamy. Last time around for Coleman was a 1 minute 30.3. Compare that to Jerome Lamy's 29.8. 0.5 of a second difference on the last lap. Jerome Lamy finding the pace. I think Coleman made a mistake, but it's very much battle resumed, and this really plays into Simone Fessy's hands. Not only has he gotten past the homeboy Lucas Maruk, but he can see these two fighting up ahead. Simone Fessy is just having the race of dreams at the moment.
Yeah, it is a very positive day. Jerome Lamy puts in the new fastest lap of the race as he is charging down on Sam Coleman. He is lined up right in there. And, you know, I think you'd be wishing that these Formula 3 cars on iRacing had DRS like Formula 3 in real life does, as Aberdeen putting on the pressure on O'Cherry once more, but not able to go for the move.
Wonder if Lee Aberdeen needs to stop these sort of half-hearted sends into places where it's really tricky to make the move. Lee Aberdeen just needs to make one concerted effort to get past O'Cherry.
Yeah, and O'Cherry is definitely on the attack. So we got 3 wide. Look at Grosseto with that low trim. Just cleared both these cars. Where did he come from? Well, he came from behind, and now he's ahead. Fabio Grosseto, Mr. Top Speed, making a double overtake, heading into the Wall of Champions. What a move by the Italian.
Hey, what you asked where Grosseto came from. I'm sure McIntyre Jones and Tony Jimenez as well will be going, I don't really remember fighting Fabio Grosseto. Grosseto, that strategy at the moment is working for him. He's up 8 places in this race. And yes, there was a little bit of you know, a kerfuffle at the start, but still, Grosseto's choice of a low downforce setup working for him. But I wonder, is he going to start to be affected by the tyre wear earlier on? Is Grosseto's pace going to be null and void by the end of the 30 laps we've got around this circuit? Matthew Gracie, he's in 31st at the moment. He's up 14 positions, so Gracie another big gainer.
Here is Sam Coleman under pressure. Jerome Lamy sends it out to the airbit, but here comes Coleman on the switchback. They're side by side, and they are repeating our Spa battle once again. Sam Coleman versus Jerome Lamy, part 2, Electric Montreal Boogaloo, as they are drag racing down the straight and heading towards the chicane. Coleman being pushed all the way down low. Lamy left up high. He gets on some brakes a little bit earlier than Coleman. Coleman sends it down low and retakes the lead, but here comes Lamy once again as we end out lap 10 and start lap 11. Jerome Lamy versus Sam Coleman. Lamy looking down towards the inside. They are side by side, and Jerome sends it down low. He's cleared up, but there's Coleman, and Coleman has to back up onto the brakes. Runs against Lamy. Lamy reactively goes wide, and they're side by side. They switch back, swap places each time once more. And Sam Coleman sends it down towards the inside and retakes the lead.
Watch this, Jerome Lamy's got such a better exit out of turns 3 and 4. Can he make the move heading down towards the Lance Stroll grandstand? Coleman goes defensive. Jerome Lamy is going to be forced to go all the way around the outside.
He is going to have a run. He got the opportunity in that break zone to take the actual line. He's alongside in this inside. They're side by side. The inside line is where you want to be. Lamy is going to send it. Coleman's onto the outside. Jerome Lamy just sneaks his way through on the apex, leaving the room for Sam Coleman. As now we got Jerome Lamy back in the lead, followed by Sam Coleman. And there's Simone Fessy and Lucas Maruk. This 2-car fight has turned into a fatal 4-way here in Montreal.
Wide on the exit of the hairpin. This is going to give a great opportunity to Sam Coleman to once again retake the lead heading into the final chicane. I told you, Austin, Simone Fessy, he's looking really rapid today. If these two continue, Simone Fessy could be looking at picking up the race win here.
and continue they will. Sam Coleman clears out Jerome on the straightaway. Jerome just backing off and letting Coleman up ahead as let's ride on board of Simon Fessy chasing down these two. I feel like they're going to stop with their squabbling just a little bit because that seemed a little rehearsed by Jerome. If they continue to fight, they're going to be well into the Shark season. That's a big hit oversteer by Sam Coleman. That's going to be perfect if you're Lucas Burke or Simon Fessy as you chase down these two. And Jerome Lamley, we saw how rapid he is through this part of the track. Watch his alignment through this corner because he was getting a massive run on Sam Coleman last time. And Coleman, once again, a little bit of oversteer. He's riding up onto that curb just a little bit too much. And here comes Jerome Lamley.
Fessy really needs to just wait and watch,
well
I do
defended.
believe.
That is beautifully defended by Sam Coleman. He was glued to that inside line, and that's allowing Simon Fessy to chase him down. Coleman once again glued to that inside line. Jerome Lamley is going to be forced to go out wide. Simon Fessy could get the best opportunity that he has right now. They go side by side. They almost tap mid-corner through the hairpin. Simon Fessy was a little bit sideways as well as they go through the hairpin and begin that drag race once more. Lamley versus Coleman part 2 is definitely the one that we've been waiting for as Coleman forced all the way down towards the inside. Lamley getting forced out wide. They're going to be side by side heading to the final chicane. Lamley lets him by. Coleman really sends it into that chicane. And Simon Fessy is just being very gentle about this attack, but he's getting a major run. He's gonna go 3. Well, he's gonna attempt to go 3 wide right there, but Lamley's gonna send it down towards the inside. Coleman's gonna be onto the inside right now, side by side, switching around with each other, but they are still nose to nose as well, side by side. You see Simon Fessy, it looks like he was warming up his tires, trying to decide which line he wanted to be, because this is definitely a fight to behold right now for the lead of the race here at Montreal between these two stellar drivers.
The roles have been reversed from Spa. It was Jerome Lamey that led the race, and it was Coleman that was applying all of that pressure further down the field. Lee Aberdeen has gotten past Leonard O'Cherry, and this time he's trying to get by
sideways up ahead. There's a car sideways up ahead and in the wall. I think, yeah, there it is. That is Simon Ramo Priaro in the wall. And I believe this is just a driver mistake. Might have got into the grass. The brake zone and the car, yeah, it just went forward. You know, that reminds me of, what was that? It's one of the Formula 1 races where the car went straight on and went into the wall. It was what? Oh wait, no, that was this year. Is it a McLaren who did that?
It was Sergio Perez in qualifying. So, Jerome Lamey under pressure once again. Sorry, Coleman under pressure. Jerome Lamey very much applying it. Evan Way in the wall in the background there. That's going to give a huge opportunity to Alistair Hay. Evan Way once again hitting the wall of champions.
Oh, that's disastrous for Way, but this is positive news for Lamey and Coleman. They're sending on each other once again. They almost make contact off the exit.
I think they did touch. That was front wing to rear wheel contact. They'll be thankful that there's no real puncher mechanic in iRacing. Evan Way still ahead of Alistair Hay. I tell you what, we've had a few drivers that have come a cropper as well. Alistair Hay in the wall this time on the exit of turn 4. Clark Williams has been in the pits. Rafael Muenza as well, having to come into the pits to repair some damage. So this race is starting to feel like a little bit of a race of attrition. Lee Aberdeen been repassed by Leonard O'Cherry as well. And Clark Williams' race goes from bad to worse. He's back into the pits once again, Austin.
Yeah, it's going up and down for a lot of the drivers today, as Lee Aberdeen has been trying to make this overtake on Leonardo O'Cherry's, but he's just been so cautious about it. He hasn't had the opportunity. Well, this is the best opportunity he's going to have. He's going to be side by side with Leonardo O'Cherry, but he backs off his run. I feel like he doesn't want to send it in to this corner specifically, because the outside line is basically the line that you want to take, because it's so tight, and you have to have a lot of trust in the driver that he will leave the room on the next corner, because it's pretty much a one line through that. We've seen it with Sam Coleman and Jerome Lamley, but other than that, most of the drivers that we see do not attempt a overtake right there unless they're in touring cars and they can afford a little bit of bumping and banging, as they're for our lead side by side once again. Stop me if you heard this before. Lamley sending it on Coleman, but Simon Fessy mid-corner, almost getting his nose in there as well.
I think Jerome Lamy needs to try and get that outside line that Coleman's been mastering so far. Tell you what, there's another Sam in this battle as well. Sam Hermer, he's slowly catching up to Maruk, Fessy, Lamy and Coleman. He could very well make this a 5-car battle for the lead. Sam Hermer, one of the quickest drivers we have in iGPFun. He's only got 1 win to his name this season, and that came all the way back at round 1 at Watkins Glen. So what can Sam Hermer do? But I think if Jerome Lamy wants this race win, he needs to find the outside line around turn 1. That's just proving to be such a good overtaking and defensive opportunity. A little bit counterintuitive because you normally want the inside line. And also, just to spice things up a little bit more, Austin, they're starting to catch a little bit of traffic.
Yeah, traffic is going to be very important. They're going to start being like picks that we've seen throughout the day. Oh, Cherry sends it down towards the inside of the number 7 of Adam Talsma. And that was a beautiful move and showing Aberdeen how to do it. But here comes Talsma right back on O'Cherry. And Aberdeen might try to look down towards the inside as well, or look around towards the normal side and get the run on both of these drivers through the hairpin.
I think Lee Aberdeen will be hoping that he has the Grissetto strategy of running as little downforce as possible. Lucas Maruk trying to get past Simone Fessy.
Maruk fed up with Fessy not being able to make the move. He tries to send it down towards the inside, but Fessy holds it off as they continue to fight, and Fessy's probably shaking his head like, no, don't attack me. We got to attack them. Just wait for them to start battling each other once more, and that'll be the right opportunity to make this 2-car fight and turn it into a 5-car fight down the field. Lee Aberdeen looking down towards the inside of Adam Talsma. They go side by side, heading into turn 1. And Aberdeen hops over the curbing and is going to try to hold around the outside, but around the outside is very hard to do, but he is still right there on Adam Talsma. He's going to have a good run. Is he going to be able to hold it around the outside of the brakes? No, he's not. He's going to get right onto the gearbox and maybe give a little bit of a nudge and a bump right there. But Lee Aberdeen, he's feeling the fire right now. Looking down towards the inside, but backs off it. He's got Richard Van Veen right behind him.
O'Cherry just scampering up the road, really leaving Talsma and Aberdeen to duke it out. Lee Aberdeen tries to repeat what Leonardo O'Cherry did 1 lap ago.
Heads to the corner that he doesn't trust. We never seen Aberdeen making a move right here, but we finally done Aberdeen down towards the inside of Talsma.
Richard Van Veen trying to capitalize on Adam Talsma's overtake as well. Talsma was very slow at the apex. Evan Way and Alistair Hay very much battling it out as well. Up ahead, you see Evan Way conceding that position to Alistair Hay. And the gap between Coleman and Jerome Lamy, Austin, just extending a little bit. This feels like the calm before the storm. And thankfully, as us commentators, we've got a few laps, I think, just to catch our breath before it all goes crazy once again.
Yeah, just a few more before... Just a few opportunities to catch our breath. The gap is a lot wider than it used to be for our leaders, but Richard Van Veen is not giving up without a fight. He's in that draft, and oh, he's just let the room on the inside from Adam Talsma. He can hold it around the outside in the braking zone, but oh, that was a beautiful move by Adam Talsma. Just sending it in through turn 1, covering off that inside, and swinging it onto the outside and covering off both lines right there.
Really going to show that if you can get the speed and you can trust the driver on the outside, you can defend on the inside. But the problem that Jerome Lamy and others have found is that if you can take that amazing speed around the outside of turn 2, there's not really much you can do. So Adam Talsma putting a lot of trust there in Richard Van Veen, and Van Veen very much warranting that trust. I tell you what, Jerome Lamy really struggling at the moment. He's now under pressure from Simone Fessy.
He might have tapped the wall because that gap did shoot out to a second, and I think Lamy might have tapped the wall just slightly, and that really put him away because that 1 second gap grew out of nowhere for Sam Coleman. And now we got a 4-car fight pretty much for second place. Who's going to retake the reins and take the fight to Sam Coleman?
While all of this is going on, Darren Rowlandson, he's had an issue out on track. He's back into the pits, and Pedro Perez Jababa as well. I think he's had some form of incident, Austin. So other drivers, I mean, there are hundreds of races going on at the moment. This is, it's so hard as a commentator or as a production team, and Mark doing a superb job in the booth. As always, Lueda down the inside of Robert Ridgway. He's up 9 places, is Luedo. So is Glamsetter just ahead of him. but what a race we've seen so far. And the best news, Austin, we've still got 12 laps to go.
Yeah, 12 laps of action left for us here at Montreal, as looking like Elado defending from Robert Ridgway. Ridgway, our 2,500 championship leader, and also second place in the overall championship, showing it how it's done right here.
Oh, what's happened to Adam Telsma? He's dropping down the order.
I think Towson might have been tapped and hit the wall. This is heading into the Lance Stroll grandstand. Does he get the grass off the exit right here? It's so easy to lose the back end. And oh, he's hit the curbing on the apex. And Richard Van Veen diving towards the grass on the apex of the following corner to avoid that. That is disastrous for Adam Towson right there.
It really is. He was having an absolute superb race. Coleman now in traffic. This is Jerome Lamy's big opportunity to regain the time that he lost through. I think he had a mistake or maybe tapped the wall, like you said, Austin.
He could have been under attack from Simon Fessy, as we saw Fessy under the attack by Lucas Maruk. And the cars behind him are getting very feisty as we're starting to see lap traffic. So Jerome Lamy and the rest of the pack could start catching Sam Coleman if this lapped car does bring them a little bit of problem.
Tell you what, Sam Hermer, he feels like a little bit of a dark horse in this race. I mentioned that he hasn't had a race win since round one. Who's off the track there? Is that a back marker?
That is the back marker. Yeah, that's the back marker of Matt Brewer, who was in the wall. He was on the outside, letting Sam Coleman send it down towards the inside. That held up Coleman just a little bit. He tried to get onto the power just to make sure that he doesn't stay away from everybody else, but he does, unfortunately, lose the back end over the curb, and into the wall he goes. He did tow back into the pit lane for Matt Brewer.
Lee Aberdeen, I mean, hats off to him. It's his first race in iGPFun, at least in a while. And, you know, Leonard O'Cherry, he had an amazing gap between himself and at the time it was Aberdeen and Adam Tausper. But, you know, Lee Aberdeen has reduced those arrears and now gotten past Leonard O'Cherry. So Aberdeen up into 16th place. He's gained 8 positions since the start of this race. And Leonard O'Cherry, I don't know if it was a mistake or if just Aberdeen's plain old quicker, but Leonard O'Cherry looking a little bit like he's under pressure at this phase of the race. 10 laps to go.
Yeah, it looks like O'Cherry is falling off, and Lee Aberdeen has found his pace and started to pull away from O'Cherry. They were very held up by Adam Talisma as you saw them just pull away after making that move on Adam Talisma right there. But O'Cherry now putting pressure on Aberdeen and kind of reverse of what it used to be. So let's look at our fight for the lead. Sam Coleman 1.1 seconds ahead of Jerome Lamy, Simon Fessy, and Lucas Baruch and Samuel Hermer, as I think I'm starting to expect Simon Fessy to start attacking Jerome Lamy if this gap does not close down very soon.
Yeah, I think Simone Fessy is now actively trying to get that second place. Tell you what, Coleman took a lot of curb through turn 9, I think a little bit more than he would have necessarily have liked. He doesn't need to really push the car at the moment. He's got, you know, a good buffer zone between himself and Lamy.
He definitely wants to push it. He wants to push it. Get out of that gap behind you, pull out at least a 2-second gap, then you can start going into relaxing phase, because when you're 2 seconds ahead of you, you're pretty much negated all the benefits of draft. He's barely in that draft zone right now. You still want to keep pushing it until you know you're in that good cushion, because you could relax and get involved in a big, and I mean big, mistake. And they can be right there and speed of a big mistake out of Talisma. Lights up the rears, it goes into the side, well, into the nose of Ben going at, and that's one damaged side pod right there.
I mean, Adam Tausma, it's unusual to see him making so many mistakes. Robert Ridgway trying to return the favor on Alejandro Luedo. Ridgway to the inside. Luedo sticking his nose, though, in through turns 2 and 3. Luedo will have the run down towards turn number 4. And Robert Ridgway is going to have to try again if he wants to take that 14th place away from Luedo. Really interesting racing going on at the moment, Austin, and now tyre wear should start to become a factor. It's a really demanding track, is Montreal. The tyre temperatures will be through the roof at this stage of the race, and especially if you're Fabio Grassetto in 9th place, who has opted to go for this low downforce strategy. Watch for him in the latter stages of this race, because he, actually you can see it through the hairpin, really struggling for tyre grip. I think Grassetto's got a long 9 laps ahead of him.
Yeah, Grassetto's going to be struggling with those tires, but he's going to be very thankful for this long straightaway, and the car's up ahead of him, though. That is a lap car directly ahead of him. The next car is Andy Flint, as the lap car gets out of his way as he clears him right there and closes that gap to Andy Flint up ahead. But yeah, he's going to be struggling indeed throughout this race.
Oh, a little bit wide there.
You can see right there, working the wheel, trying to save it. He's kept it clear, but that's really slowed him down to chase down Andy Flint. And now I think he's not focused on making the overtake up ahead and just focused on keeping that car alive.
Completely, it's all about survival for Fabio Grassetto. That all started through turns 1 and 2 when he just went a little bit wide. That put him on the back foot. Tell you what, Jerome Lamy, another driver that seems to be on the back foot at the moment. Coleman is just finding more and more pace every lap. Coleman set the fastest lap of the race 2 laps ago, and Jerome Lamy was 4/10 behind Coleman. Simone Fessy, if he wants this race win, he needs to make the move now, because Coleman is just finding more and more pace every lap, and equally Coleman is getting very lucky with the traffic, and it just seems that when you are in the lead and you have that luck, there's nothing really much that can stop you.
Yeah, and it looks like Jerome Lamy might have, I think he just might have burned up his tires and burned up all of his pace when battling Sam Coleman. There might have been a tap to a wall somewhere, and I feel like, because that pace has really dropped away, his last lap was a 1 minute 30 seconds compared to the 1:29s that Lucas Maruk and Simon Fessy were putting in. And out of the top 4, he is the slowest based off laps. That's a very poor pit exit by the car right there, kind of breaking up that field by Lucas Maruk. Let's go down the field and look at Robert Ridgway as he's chasing down Lado in that fight for 14th.
Just to touch very quickly on the pit exit, it's a really challenging pit exit. It's a really old school pit exit that we have here. It rejoins right onto the apex of turn 3, and there's not really much vision that you can grant.
Right off the exit.
But what I'm trying to say is it's on the racing line, so it's really difficult to rejoin. So I think, you know, there has to be a little bit of tolerance given there. But having said that, these drivers have the advantage of having a relative that gives them, you know, a good idea of where each car is. So it's not the best rejoin, and that, unfortunately, he sort of nullified the battle for second place at the moment. 5/10 separating both Lamy from Fessy and Fessy from Maruk.
Well, it's 1 second separating the entire fight for second place. But yeah, that does bring on a point. What other racetracks have a pit exit leading onto the racing line? As that's a lot occurred by Luke Maruk.
You put me right on the spot at the moment. I'll have to think about that. Another driver that was wide, Samuel Hermer. Hermer trying to get past the traffic. Hermer not really been a factor in this race so far. Tell you what, Simone Fessy, does he have the pace to overtake Jerome Lamy? Is he waiting until the very end, or the very end of the race to make the move? Or is Jerome Lamy just got enough pace to hang on to that second place? I wonder, Austin.
It's up in the air, but it doesn't seem like it, because he is losing time to Sam Coleman, and Simon Fessy is staying right there with him, and Lucas Maruk is right on the back of Simon Fessy, and we saw Maruk put a overtake attempt on Simon Fessy, which really brought up the aggression by Simon Fessy to attack Lamy, and he definitely does not want to squander this opportunity for a good podium, maybe a second place. And for our championship leader, Lucas Maruk, he doesn't need to be in this fight. He's just really enjoying it, and another podium by Lucas Maruk is definitely going to be happy, even though we saw him take the win at Zolder. And the answer to my question, it's always the answer to my question when we talk about horrible pit lanes, Laguna Seca.
Oh, I should have thought of that one. See, you got an American bias. You just think about Laguna Seca. I have to dive through many British tracks to find Laguna Seca in my mind. I tell you what, Lee Aberdeen is absolutely rapid at this phase of the race, and with that newfound confidence that he found trying to make the move at turn 9, I wonder if Luedo you know, is not only going to have to think about getting past Robert Ridgway, but start to think about defending from Lee Aberdeen in 16th place.
You also have Donington in that list as well.
Oh, I should have thought that. All right. You're just throwing your track knowledge in my face.
Silverstone's a stretch, Mark.
Well, until Williams flies across you as you're exiting the pits. Actually, it was Perez, wasn't it? And it was a Williams that was exiting the pits at the race start. Luedo, 15th place. Robert Ridgway managed to get past, but Ridgway not being able, Austin, to extend the gap to over a second. So Luedo still very much having the benefits of the slipstream, and that's keeping him very much in play for this battle for 14th place.
That's a lot of wheel spin by Aberdeen as he's chasing down Luedo. Robert Ridgway under pressure by these two, and Aberdeen is just been renewed with his ability to overtake as he's left Leonardo Cherry behind him.
And Cherry, what can he do? We had the pace earlier on in this race, but it sort of fell away from him in the mid-stint. Was that a little bit of tyre saving? I wonder. What can he do in the last 6 laps of this race? Tell you what though, Austin, that battle for second place, while it was looking very close, it still remains looking very close indeed. Lucas Maruk starting to close up. Will he risk it all? Will he risk it for the proverbial chocolate biscuit, I wonder? Does Maruk fancy another podium to his name this season?
He definitely wants to get as many podiums as he wants, because the podiums mean points, and there's that 2-second gap to Sam Cohen. Okay, this fight for second place is about to get absolutely nutty. Simone Fessy pretty much knowing, all right, you're no longer going for that lead. You're just trying to keep you behind you, so it is game on for second place. Lately, almost gets to the wall off the exit.
Jerome Lamy really coming under pressure. This is not a side we've seen from Jerome Lamy recently. He was a millimetre perfect all throughout the Spa race, but today just those mistakes starting to creep in, and that's allowed Sam Coleman to gain a 2-second advantage. And it's very much now, as you mentioned, Austin, who is going to be second place in this race. And you know, if Jerome Lamy and Simone Fessy start to fight and they start to slow each other down, watch out for Maruk and Hermer. They will be right back into this fight.
Yeah, they will definitely be in there. Samuel Hermer has fallen away from these guys as he is about 3 seconds away and about to be attacked by Hay and Way. So actually, Allison Hay is actually joining Sam Hermer right there. He's in that draft in that fight for 5th place. So we got a fight for second with 3 cars, a fight for 5th. Evan Way on his own, and Flint being chased down by Grosseto, which looks like he in that low downforce machine is closing that gap very shortly, and will we be seeing Grosseto get Flint with a few laps to go? This is Lee Aberdeen in that draft. That's a very ambitious swerve by Robert Ridgway ahead of Lee Aberdeen, and Aberdeen looking for that outside line, trying to get the better run. He does have the speed, but can he be braver on the brakes than Robert Ridgway? Who's got the bigger brakes? And it is going to be Ridgway sending it down the inside right there. And Aberdeen, very slow exit. Here comes Lato. Lato going down to the inside. Watch that lad car on the very inside as they were 3 wide just for momentarily. It's notice Leonardo O'Cherry wants to make it 3 wide heading down or into turn 1.
I think what I said about Leonard O'Cherry saving his tyres really coming to fruition, although he's very wide on the exit of turn 3. Lee Aberdeen was really hampered and compromised by his own overtaking opportunity of Robert Ridgway. Robert Ridgway really needs to just have the perfect middle sector to try and extend his gap from these two squabbling behind him.
Yeah, they're still battling over each other. O'Cherry looks down towards the inside and getting a run on Luedo right now. O'Cherry getting a good run. Looking down towards the inside. Aberdeen's defending onto the inside, giving O'Cherry just a little bit of depth. O'Cherry's going to have the opportunity to send it down to the inside. He does, and there's a little bit of contact between these two. Luedo goes to a trip through the grass, and O'Cherry looks like he is all good on damage. No damage right there, but there was a tap between the two.
It's inevitable with these cars so close. Talking of close cars racing, Lamy and Fessy still separated by less than half a second. Can Can Simone Fessi find a way through? Has he been planning this whole time, or has Jerome Lamy got a few more tricks up his sleeve to keep this second place, I wonder? Lucas Maruk, I just have a sense that he's waiting for the fireworks between these two to scoop up the mess and gain some ever-crucial championship points.
Clemens Punzengruber looking down towards the inside right now. Big send on the 707 to Matthew Gracie. He's oversent it, though. He's riding onto the curb, so that's going to be a send and then a fall back. Gracie couldn't get an opportunity to regain that position, but I think Gracie just backed out of it. Right there, he saw his opportunity, but he couldn't capitalize on it as Clemens Punzengruber was on the racing line when he was trying to regain speed of that car right ahead of Matthew Gracie. But Gracie's going to be in that draft as they go down the straightaway with just a few more opportunities. Up the road is Patrick Olson going side by side. Well, just a bit. That was Gavin Petty that was in side by side with this Matthew Gracie. Gracie looking on the move to regain up Punzinger. They're side by side entering the corner. Matthew Gracie with a switchback. That was beautiful right there.
Superb car control by Matthew Gracie. Punzengruber as well didn't make his life easy for him. He ran way too quick into the first part of the chicane and sort of had to recover the car all the way through. Look at this, Simone Fessi. This is the closest he's been.
Yeah, Fessi looking for that opportunity, but it's not right there. You have to be so precise and even side by side to really know that, hey, I got this, and I have to really go for it. And he doesn't want to just send it down towards the inside. There's a lot of respect between these top three right now as Jerome Lamy leads out this group in the fight for second place. Fessi just looking and biding his time. He's got to find the right opportunity before he goes. And Lamy, it just looks like he is losing the pace and the back end out of these exits. That's when Fessi has to strike. Gotta get that exit right. Gotta time that exit and just force Lamley into a mistake. I think that was a mistake right there. Lamley, we saw get up onto the curb right there. And that is definitely something you do not want to do in single seaters. Here comes Fessi. Fessi could look down towards the inside. Not going to send it. He's just going to try to get the better exit out of this hair, but there's some smoke in the air. There's a car in the grass. That is Clemens Punzengruber off the exit right there. For a second, I thought that was Sam Coleman. I was about to lose my lung.
I think we all would have done, Austin. Simone Fessi lifting at the moment. I wonder if he's trying to get the switchback. Is he trying to get the switchback through the final corner down into turn one? But Jerome Lamy wise to it. Brakes a little bit earlier.
It's going to be his last time because white flag is in the air. 1 lap to go between these drivers. Someone Fessi, well, it's make it or break it. He's weaving the tires. He's wanting to make that move. This is the last opportunity. He's going to have send it down towards the inside. No, he's not. He wanted to do it, but I think he was psyching himself up, and we're looking at that real wheel movement on the front straightaway. He was kind of weaving. It's like, make your decision because I'm about to do it. But this is the last opportunity. Let's ride on board Simone Fessi because this is going to be it in the fight for second. Make it or break it opportunity. But he's got to close that gap to Jerome Lamy. Lamy, we got a car ahead. That is a lap car. That's Adam Talsma, that number 7.
Play a huge part in who finishes in second place here today. Currently, Talsma is giving the slipstream to Jerome Lamy. That's crucial through turns 8 and 9. Fessi is not going to have the option. It's all about the run off turn 10. And I tell you what, Lamy looking like he's got this one under control, but who will be a little bit braver onto the brakes into the hairpin.
It's all about bravery right now. Who's going to be the best off the exit? And in the drag, we saw Fessi lift off last time. He's going to be on a run. We see the snaking down the straightaway by Jerome Lamy. He's got to watch that or else he's going to be in trouble by the stewards. Here we go. Fessi versus Lamy. They're going to be side by side entering. Fessi not backing off right now. They're side by side into the brake itself. And it's a send by Lamy. A big air by Fessi. Here comes Lucas Baruch off the exit. He's not going to be there. Fessi getting a good run on Lamy. They're side by side. It's going to be Coleman, Lamy, and Fessi in third. Lucas Baruch couldn't get the surprise on Simone Fessi. Samuel Herman finishes in 5th, followed by Alzer Hay in 6th. Evan Way in 7th place. Andy Flint beats Grosseto as Tony Jimenez finishes in 10th place, giving a big wiggle ahead of his teammate in 11th, Victor Barris. Aberdeen in 15th, up 9 spots to complement the 999. As Richard Van Veen trying to chase down Stu Millen, but Stu Millen just farther ahead. But Van Veen, oh man, he's closing with the end of the steam. And honestly, I thought that he had no limits right there. It was just going to go straight for it, but Van Veen is going to be finishing behind Stuart Millen in 18th. Potapenko finishes in 20th as the Ukrainian up 6 spots. Good day for him.
A good day for us and you, the viewers at home. What an incredible race. Tell you what happened to Sam Hermer? Because Alistair Hay was so close to him at the end. The gap between Hermer and Hay was 1/10 of a second. And you also wonder, did Fessy just wait a little bit too long? Did he?
Yes.
Did he just want to do it at the final corner? But I'll tell you what, Lamy had it covered in Simone Fessy. If he just started to apply that level of pressure one lap before, it might have been a different outcome for the Frenchman.
Yeah, I feel like it was just a little bit too little too late. He certainly just wanted to go for the move and just waited for that last opportunity. Sam Coleman, that last lap, by the way, set the fastest lap of the race.
Coleman just in a league of his own today, wasn't he? He didn't make the mistakes where others did. And at the end, you know, and that's why Lucas Moroka is the championship leader, because he can do exactly what Coleman did today. Just stay out of trouble for the season, keep it clean, and just rack up those points.
It certainly did. And Sebastian, I'm going to give you the honors to read through our race results.
So Sam Coleman takes the race win by almost 3 seconds to Jerome Lamy in second place. Simone Fessy rounds out your podium places. Championship leader Lucas Moroka had a great race. He finishes in 4th place with Samuel Hermer in 5th. Alistair Hay almost got 5th place. He will finish in 6th place today. Evan Way in 7th. He had a few contacts with the barriers today. He'll be, I think, happy to come home in 7th. Andy Flynn in 8th. Fabio Grosseto with that low downforce setup. He manages to hold on to that 9th place with Tony Jimenez rounding out your top 10, just ahead of his teammate Victor Barris in 11th. Well, McIntyre Jones in 12th with Christian Glamsetter right alongside him. Robert Ridgway 14th, Lee Aberdeen in 15th place. What an amazing race from him. Alejandro Severino Laredo in 16th place with Leonardo Cherry 17th. Stuart Milne in 18th, Richard Van Veen 19th with Potapenko rounding out your top 20. Gieti 21st, Zoltan Zamota 22nd, Reed Dennis 23rd, Gavin Petty 24th. He made a mistake on lap 1 and could never really recover from there. Patrick Olsen 25th, Matthew Gracie 26th. Adam Townsend was in a great scrap with O'Cherry and Aberdeen, but had a few mistakes. He finishes in 27th place and 1 lap down for good measure. Patrick Rowlands in 28th place with Clemens Putzengluber in 29th, with Rafael Muenza rounding out your top 30. Rory Collins 31st, Alan Lee 32nd, Nick Carty 33rd, Killen Richie Robinson in 34th, Simon Rampampiario in 35th, with Matt Brewer 36th, Leo Lung in 37th. And the first of our retirees, Philip Lucas, Pedro Jabara, Darren Rowlandson, James Cockram, Clark Williams, Frankie Franchica, Caleb Patry, Atoa Devine, Thrulis Westman, Carol Ann Wild, all are non-finishers today. Austin, and what an amazing race we've had once again. IGP Fun never fails to deliver.
Yeah, IGP Fun always not failing to deliver. It seems like a tradition that there's always going to be a wild finish right now, and according to my lungs, yes, but let me tell you, I love it anyway, so let's keep it going. And to report on Simon's incident, his Oculus blacked out back on lap 13. Well, that is a very unfortunate moment, but, you know, it's hardware issues, just like mechanical issues. We get them in iRacing, and, you know, until we get rain, that is something, that's probably the only thing that we will have to be blaming our poor results on. But I gotta say, a fantastic race here in Montreal. We stay in North America for next week as we head to Road Atlanta. And I gotta say, Road Atlanta, these final 2 rounds are gonna be a lot exciting. It's gonna be so much fun. The S's in these Formula 3 cars are a lot of fun to watch. That long back straightaway with the draft that everybody gets can go down towards the inside of that final chicane is going to be very tight and tricky. And then we end out our season back in time at the historical Silverstone Grand Prix, which is also a poorly designed exit, which is right on the racing line.
Yeah, but it's Silverstone, so it doesn't matter. You know, Road Atlanta is great, but I cannot wait for that final. I cannot wait for the final Silverstone round. It's got Bridge Corner. Who doesn't love a little bit of Bridge Corner? That is certainly one to tune in for. But Road Atlanta as well. I think it's going to be, we're going to see a real divergence in setups there. Drivers prioritizing a low downforce setup to get the run down the straight, and drivers prioritizing a higher downforce setup to go through the S's. It's going to be a really interesting race, but honestly, these drivers could race around the centripetal race, the centripetal track, I should say, and they'd make it wholly interesting.
It really would be, and I'm excited to see throughout. I wonder if historical, I could use my low pass filter on my mic. If I don't think it's that historical, though. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today for the iGPFun Formula 3 series presented by SRP, home of the best sim racing pedals out there over at simracingpro.com. Thank you so much for powering the iGPFun Formula 3 series. Here on Apex Racing TV, I've been joined by Sebastian Bosher-Williams with Mark Tranter in the production booth. I'm Austin Knight, and I hope y'all have a good night.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, You owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.